Welcome, everybody. Elton's retirement journey. 62 years old, 5 years of work, living here in Georgia, and planning that retirement. So, just thought I'd use this segment to talk about how I understand people who don't invest. Because there was one time um, when there was a 401k that I didn't sign up, and I got my timeline right. So, we're going to go back to 1989, and I was working for a mail order computer store. There were two of them. One of them was Dell, and the other one was the one I worked for, which is no longer in business. They opened up retail stores, and I was their tech. I was earning 14,500 a year, and basically building the computers. These are IBM compatibles, and had a name brand. And that was when everybody started looking at getting computers in their homes. So it was a good business to be in at that time. For me, I learned a lot. But anyway, while I was there, the company offered a 401k with a nice match or some type of match. And everybody in the store came by to say, hey, you need to get in on this. We had two corporate sales reps. We had two guys that did the inside sales of the store, and we had a manager, assistant manager. One by one, they all came around and suggested that I get involved in this because of the match. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll take the information home and I'll read it. And I took it home and read it, and it was a 401k right off the bat. It was, tax deferred. So you put your money, you don't pay any taxes on it. And you're about 29, 30 years old back then, 1989. You need that money. You got to pay a 10% penalty plus the taxes. And at 14,500, 10% into it is going to be about $1,400. And at that time in Detroit, I'm riding a bus back and forth to work. So my priority is simple. I need a car. And so at that time, I was a saver. And I had been a saver up to then. Back in the 70s, you go into a bank, you have what's called a passbook savings account. You go in with your money and you hand the book over to the teller. They put the dollar amount in there, initial it, and maybe give you a receipt or something. But it was necessary for me to take any extra money and not pump it into a retirement, but pump it into a bank account so you don't have to ride a bus to work. That was not cool. You got to get up extra early, and in Michigan, you got 4 or 5 months of bad weather, rain, snow, um, cold weather. Just not, I needed to use the money that I was earning then to get some wheels under my feet. And so, with that said, I understand why um, there would be people who would have these plans and not invest in them. I mean, your priorities are different places, especially if you got a family, you got kids with glasses, and this kid's in the sports. Now he didn't broke his arm, or she didn't did a tumble, her ankles messed up. It could be a drain on you, and so I understand. And I thought I would just bring that up because it hasn't been always easy to save money, and those of us who are investing, we need to be aware that some people, when you're talking to, they seem like they may be okay with it, but you know, they don't really care to hear it. Um, so, and we have this channel here, and we like to talk about it because we're all fighting to get to where we want to be. Um, so I just thought I'd bring that up so that we can have a better understanding of what people are going through and why you might have somebody that has no money or very low money. And getting that car was important. But I did start to invest. I had a friend of mine that was in the worked at the computer store, and in '92, mom had passed, and I left that job and got another job, and they paid out the vacation time. I think I got 2 weeks. It was a lump sum money. And the guy, Terry Brenner, he went out to New York for Dean Witter, and he got his training. And he was actually in the building when they set that bomb off. They were trying to tilt the building, make it fall over to the other one. He had to walk down all those flights of stairs, and it was a mess. But he called me and he says, "Hey, I'm doing this. Why don't you come on in, bring your checkbook?" And at that time, I had that cash. I was like, "Man, I need to start planning something now. Stable. You got a car and you got a new job. You're bringing in more money." And one thing about me working a new job, I was when I started at 14,500. I left that job in '92. I went from being a tech to inside sales. So I was on a commission. I was making about 19,000. So when I left there, I went to another job making about 21.5, and I had to go through the eligibility period, and then like 90 days, and then you can enroll in the 401k. And so I met with Terry first, and I wasn't in a plan or anything, and he got me into two mutual funds. One was a Pacific Asian fund. I picked that for the IRA, and I think I wrote a check for $1,000. A lot of these mutual funds, they have a minimum amount that you need to invest with. But anyway, I made a commitment to send $100 in every month um, out of one of the checks. The second check, I had opened up a telecommunication fund. Now, this was more of it wasn't a sheltered, it was more of a brokerage type mutual fund. You just put the money in it, it's after tax, and you would pay taxes on the capital gains. But what I did was I altered. I kept that fund for a couple of years. I got that one up to about 4,000, and I think I might have got the Pacific Asian fund up to about 3,200 because I kept it for a couple of years. Now this fund, the Asian fund, had did about 57% that year. It did not have that much the years after that. Matter of fact, I started getting all this mail, so I started reading the statements and looking at the year end summaries, and I was at a break even on both those funds. I just wasn't making any money on those picks. However, I was happy that I did accumulate and develop the discipline to send something in every month and then put something in the 401k. 401k did good. The investment funds that I picked grew, and I got up to about $500 a month, which is a lot for me. On a $21,000 salary, you can do the math on it. You can see what was being put away, and I needed that because the company, after a year or so there, they built a new plant, and the older car that I got, uh, it wasn't suitable to get out there. You needed something a little bit newer to get back and forth out to a plant that's 19 miles away. So I wound up Dad co-signed for me, and I put the $4,000 down from the telecommunication fund, and I went ahead and got me a car. And that's just an example of some of the priorities that you would have, um, when you are growing up and when these opportunities to invest, you got to make sure you got everything: roof over your head, transportation. Living in Detroit, you want to have a car because most of the jobs have moved out of the city, especially a lot of the major plants. There aren't that many there. They in the parts, just everybody moved because there's more land out here, tax breaks in other counties and stuff like that. But anyway, I learned the discipline of investing, and that's where we start with this segment, understanding why some people don't invest. My dad got a license in selling insurance, and some of the products are also financial, so he knew about the mutual funds and what companies were good investments and strong for individual stocks. And later on in his retirement, I'd asked him, I said, "Dad, well, you knew all this stuff. Why didn't you put $100 away, a month?" And he said, "I was raising a family. I just didn't have it." So that's another example of why some people don't invest. They have other obligations, and we can't fault them for that. But for those of us who do invest, we try and stay on top of it, and anybody's willing to ask advice, because one of the things now is that a lot of us have gained experience because the investment world is do it yourself. If you're not a $500,000 or more, um, having that money under management, they're pretty much going to say, yeah, but minimum $50,000 for advisors, or 250 or something like that. But here's the mutual fund finder, and then you have to pick your own investments, and that's how some of us um, get into this, where we have to pick our own investments and manage our own money. And that's really what it is. You have to be a financial planner and an investment advisor, and you got to be a trader. And when I say a trader, that's when you're going in, you got 5 grand and you need to go, what you're going to do, and you try and buy a bank CD, which is what I've done this year, and made a decision. I want to continue put money in the equities, or do I want to go with fixed income, knowing I'm going to need that money in 5 years? And, that's what this channel is about. And those of us who do this, I'm still working, and there's no foreseeable future for me not to work. And that, claiming disability and bailing out like that, that's something I'm not going to do. But I do enjoy this channel, and I thought that I would mention that so that we can be understanding for the folks who aren't investing or don't really show any real interest. I mean, some of the people who you think are smart and doing this are probably may or may not be doing it, but that's their business, and you can see why it would be like that. If you you got a choice of riding a bus or buying a car, you're gonna pump your money in to a IRA or 401k, where you, especially 401ks, you can almost, it's difficult to get your money out of there. They want to take 20%, and you're not 59 and a half, it's 10%. All your gains are gone, and then you got the fluctuation in the stock market. You got to make your own decisions. So I just thought I'd mention that because we're going to run into people like that. Um, and that's about it for this segment. Next segment, we'll talk about something else. I wanted to roll into some of the jobs and the plans, and how some of their plans and the positions that you're in are not really suitable for you if you want to really, really invest and get ready for your retirement. But I'm gonna think about that, and pretty much using myself as example. And I'll get back at you. And thanks.